With just a month left for the start of the 2021 season, it's hard not to think about all the new possibilities in F1 in 2021. We are yet to see the cars out on track, and most cars haven't even been unveiled till now. When talking about the pecking order or favorites for this season, our guesses are as educated as they would have been at the end of the 2020 season at Abu Dhabi. This is why, at this early stage of the 2021 season, I present to you 5 bold predictions for the 2021 season. Why bold? Well, first of all, we don't have any pre-season testing data. Second, we don't know if any team has made any significant improvements since last season. And thirdly, well, most of these are going to be wrong. Now, these predictions are at best an educated guess based on what happened last year, my instinct, and well, a bit of wishful thinking. So, without delaying it any further, let's dive into the 5 bold predictions for the 2021 season. Number 1, Max Verstappen becomes world champion. If there were ever any doubts about who would be the favorite to win the title in 2021, then those were erased on the day Lewis Hamilton decided to extend his contract by one more year at Mercedes. The team from Brackley has had the fastest car on the grid since 2014. Every season there are contenders, every season there is anticipation, and every season Mercedes arrives to the first race of the season and dominates. This narrative, I feel, is about to change. Red Bull was the second fastest car on the grid last year. It was slower than the Mercedes by a considerable margin, but by the time we reached Abu Dhabi, Max Verstappen put the Red Bull on pole and comfortably charged towards the victory. It is widely known that Mercedes stopped working on the 2020 car midway through the season to focus on the next season's car. However, what Red Bull showed last year was the ability to methodically cut down the gap to the Silver Arrows. The regulations for this year remain the same. The teams are also restricted by the amount of development they can make on their cars. This means that the gains made by Red Bull towards the end of last year will carry forward into this season. To add to this, at Honda, all bets would be off since this is going to be their last season in Formula One. Max has shown that he can be a worthy adversary for Lewis Hamilton even in a slower car. This year, with a car that should be much closer on pace with the Mercedes, Verstappen should be able to challenge Hamilton consistently. Hamilton, on the other hand, with impending contract negotiations for next year and consistent pressure from Verstappen, would finally crumble, handing Verstappen the first title triumph of his career. Now, coming to prediction number 2, Lewis Hamilton retires from Formula One. If there was one thing that could be analyzed from the 1 year contract extension for Lewis Hamilton, it is the fact that both the team and the driver seem to lack faith in each other for the long run. One of the reasons could be that Hamilton is looking to win his record breaking 8th World Championship and ride off into the sunset. Whether it is because of his age or his extensive list of achievements, he may not have the motivation to continue for much longer. The 2021 season is where we will finally see a change of guard, as Lewis Hamilton, the greatest driver of his generation, will pass the torch to Max Verstappen, arguably the brightest prospect in the paddock. With Max Verstappen winning the title in 2021 and a change of regulations looming in 2022, Lewis will pull the curtains on what is the most illustrious career in the history of the sport. Ferrari will win a race in the 2021 season. Okay, let me make a few things clear. I don't expect Ferrari to be back to where it was in 2019, where it was consistently fighting for poles, podiums, and victories. I expect them to improve their engine performance as compared to last season, but I still expect them to compete in the midfield. However, the reason why Ferrari would win a race this season is because of a certain once in a lifetime talent that goes by the name of Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc in a Ferrari that lacked engine power and was high on drag was still able to accomplish multiple podiums in what was still a less than perfect season for the young driver. In 2021, I expect more of the same from Leclerc, and with Ferrari slated to recover at least some of the engine deficit from last year, I expect Leclerc to keep chipping away, and in one of these races where the big boys slip up, the Monegasque driver will sneak through and win the race. Now, prediction number 4. Esteban Ocon will beat Fernando Alonso in 2021. Fernando Alonso is making a return to Formula One with Alpine F1. He is expected, for all the right reasons, to be the lead driver of the team and guide it towards the front of the grid. In all likelihood, if we look at the odds, Alonso should be expected to beat Ocon across the season. But there are a few things that we need to take into consideration. Alonso is coming back after a gap of 2 years from the sport. He's also had a horrible accident recently, which will surely hinder his preparations before the start of the year. He also makes his return as one of the eldest statesmen on the grid alongside Kimi Raikkonen. To add to this, we must not forget the reason why Esteban Ocon is rated so highly. Ocon went head to head against Sergio Perez in his very first season in Formula One and did a great job of matching the Mexican. Last year, Ocon was caught off guard by the pace and consistency that Ricciardo was able to display. But by the end of the year, Ocon was more or less a match for Ricciardo. In his second year with the team, he would be expected to improve even further. Will a prime Fernando Alonso be able to beat Esteban Ocon in the 2021 season? We don't think there would be too many doubts about that. But with so many things stacked against Alonso in 2021, there's a high probability that we will see Fernando Alonso lose to the young Frenchman. And now, last but not the least, we will see the return of vintage Vettel. Sebastian Vettel will start a new chapter of his career at Aston Martin in 2021. For all intents and purposes, Sebastian Vettel's stay at Ferrari has tarnished his legacy to a great extent. He went to the team as a 4-time world champion and left as a number 2 driver, being consistently outqualified and outraced by his younger teammate. Many even questioned why Sergio Perez was dropped in favor of Vettel as he looked horribly out of sorts throughout the season. Talking about Vettel's situation at Ferrari, I do feel he was just caught in a perfect storm. He was reeling from a failed campaign in 2018, and when he realized that the 2019 challenger was just not good enough to fight for the title, his shoulders dropped. All this coincided with the emergence of Charles Leclerc, and suddenly Vettel was not Maranello's favorite child anymore. The 2020 season was nothing but a conclusion of a relationship that had aged badly. Last year, Vettel talked about how at just 33 he had not forgotten how to drive fast. And in many ways, it's hard to disagree with that. At Aston Martin, Vettel will be part of a new home, new surroundings, and admittedly less politics. Most importantly, for someone like Vettel, who has the tendency to be a bit emotional, he would receive the love from the team. And in my view, the 2021 season would see the return of vintage Vettel. Consistent, fast, and one of the funniest drivers in the paddock. So these are my bold predictions for the 2021 season. What do you guys think? What are your predictions? Do share in the comment section. Thanks for watching.